players needed to have 100% of their mind on the game, not on the coach, just on the sideline. And I still believe that's a good philosophy. In 1952, Brookings High School went to Watertown for a basketball game on Friday the 13th, a 13th game of the season. And both teams were good teams. We ended up, Brookings committed 46 fouls that night, Watertown 31. A total of 77 fouls were called in that game. That's when you didn't knock anybody down on the floor. 77 fouls is probably still a record for fouls called in one ball game. But we went into 3 overtimes. In the 3rd overtime, we fouled out our 8th man, have 12 men dressed, so we end up with 4 men on the floor. And with 5-4, Watertown scored and won the ball game. Turns out that was the only ball game we lost all year that year. I started pole vaulting when I was in the 7th grade, using a bamboo pole, landing in a sand pit, which they did give us a shovel to speed up the sand in between times. And when I was a junior in high school, they bought me a new metal pole. And I used that metal pole for 2 more years in high school, landing in the same sand pit and the same shovel to spade up the pit. And we didn't even have a runaway up to the pole vaulting pit. We just ran on the grass to the pit. And then when I went up to college at South Dakota State, Jim Emmerich traded my the high school a Swedish steel pole for my aluminum pole, so I could take that up to college and I used it for another 4 years at college. Nowadays, these college vaulters take 5 poles to 1 track meet. We didn't have any indoor track at college when I was first got there, but my junior year, Emmerich lined up 3 track meets, so we had to fix up some way to pole vault in practice to get ready for the meets. And Emmerich goes over to a dorm that they're replacing mattress in and brings back a whole pile of mattresses, all the mattresses we wanted. So we put them in a corner and built a little box to plant the pole in and practice indoors. And actually, we had the softest pit that I landed in all in high school or college. Usually in college, we were landing in sawdust pits. And sawdust pits would have the sand bales around it. As you saw in the picture there, the bales or straw bale. Straw bales were not for landing on. They were just to keep the wind from blowing the sawdust away. When I got out of college, I waited 39 years and came back into pole vaulting and vaulted in the Masters meets for another 10 years. In the Masters meets, I got a chance to use a fiberglass pole. And the fiberglass pole would flip the people over so much they land on their back, so they ended up coming up with foam pits instead of the sawdust pits. So all through my early years of pole vaulting, I used bamboo poles and metal poles and fiberglass poles in my senior years and landed on sand pits and sawdust pits and foam mattresses. And now the The mats are about 2.5 feet high and all that we landed in the senior games. And people would say when I was vaulting in, when I was 60 years old, they say, it's nice that you can pole vault again, but please don't get hurt. And to me, landing in 2.5 foot of foam, that was a dream come true. So I have enjoyed my pole vaulting years, and the way the weather was this afternoon, I'd like to have been out pole vaulting today, but I decided to come here instead. Thank you, and thanks for listening.
"77 fouls. Sounds like Jim Rykhus ref that game. Hand up, I knew it. Well, our next inductee has now become the greatest football coach ever from Winter, bypassing Frank Leahy, who coached at Notre Dame. That was easy compared to being the head coach of the Winter Warriors. And the presenter is a guy that coached football but wasn't great, Jerry Miller. Our next inductee is Harvey Nasz.
You know, we were maybe a bit short on some ability, but I guarantee you, our heart was there, and the mental toughness was there, the second effort was there, and that's all she took.
Harvey Nasz. The Mobridge High and USD grad was one of the state's finest prep football coaches, going 169, 58-3 in 24 seasons, mostly at Winter. He coached 17 years for the Warriors, where he guided them to 3 state titles in 81, 87, and 89, and 1 runner-up finish in 1986. Naz's Warriors were unbeaten in 1980, 81, and 87. He was a longtime athletic director at Winter as well. He also coached at Gettysburg 2 years, Custer 1, and Gregory 4. Harvey was an all-state football player at Mobridge. He also played at USD. 4 times he was selected by his peers as the state's high school football coach of the year. He was selected to the National High School Athletic Coaches Hall of Fame in 2008. He is also a member of the South Dakota High School Coaches Association Hall of Fame and the South Dakota Football Coaches Association Hall of Fame.
I'd like to thank the South Dakota Sports Hall of Fame for this great honor. Back in the Revolutionary War time, the British Army came down to Tennessee and they were setting up camp. And they were ready for supper. All of a sudden, behind a rock, the guy gets up, takes his coonskin hat off. Come get me if you can. British commander takes 2 guys, they go over there and get that guy and bring him back. They go over there, a little ruckus, a couple of rocks fly up. Come get me if you can. General says, all right, I want a whole platoon over there. I want that guy brought back. Okay, this time more rocks fly up. Trees go down. Come get me if you can. General's getting upset. He says, I want this whole company to go there, and I want to bring him back. Okay, they get over there, big rocks fly up, big trees get uprooted. Finally, a British soldier comes crawling back. There's 2 of them. Yeah. There's a moral to that story. It is folks that want to, can do. And a lot of people in my life have given me the want to be up here. Old teachers, old coaches, friends, assistant coaches, and of course, countless athletes. family, parents, Jacob and Martha. If I heard it once, I heard it 1,000 times. Damn it, Harvey, use some common sense. Good advice. Wife Karen, all the way from getting in a football stance by following written down directions to seeing us through thick or thin. And then along came 3 sons, Bart, wife Trish, Brian, wife Sharon, Brad, wife Lori. They all help. And along come 9 grandchildren. Trey, soon to be wife Hannah. Trevor, special friend, Ellie. Trent, a lot of special friends. And then Jacob, wife Ellie. Nathan, wife Lauren. Sam, special friend Carol. And again, Isaac, with a lot of special friends also. Okay, granddaughters, Faith, special friend Derek, and Leah. All these people made it very worthwhile. When I was at my brothers, younger brother Harry is up here from Omaha. He was a stud defensive end for the undefeated Mobridge Tigers in 1957. Older brother Harold, deceased, God rest his soul, probably the toughest one of all of us. But in junior high, the teacher one day came around and asked us what we wanted to be when we grew up. When it came to my turn, I said, I want to be a coach like my brother Howard. And there were many times in my coaching life that I asked myself, what would have Howard done in this situation? And tonight, his daughter Julie, Steve, and Tom are here. Thank you very much for coming. And I guarantee you, I wouldn't be up here tonight if it wouldn't be for the help of all these special people that put their want to in me. Thank you.
Trent and Isaac, you're the ones doing it right. Keep it up. Have a lot less heartache. Jeffrey Lemaire, our presentator for one of the greatest boxers in South Dakota history, Jerry James.
In the red corner,
Jerry James. The 1980 South Dakota State grad was the #1 rated amateur boxer in the United States at 165 pounds in 1988. That year, the Brooklyn native competed internationally against Cuba and Europe and in the U.S. Olympic trials, where a controversial ruling kept him out of the Olympics. Amazingly, his boxing career spanned less than 6 years. In his early 20s, he tried tough man boxing at a local bar and won. Soon he became connected with a boxing program run by Joe Taylor at Siouxland Boxing in Sioux Falls, and he began amateur boxing. In 1983, he was a National Golden Glove runner-up. In 1988, he won state, regional, and national USA ABF titles to become a member of the USA Elite Boxing Team. In the 1988 Nationals, he knocked out the 2-time national champion, who was slated to represent the USA in the '88 Olympics. From 2000 to 2004, he was the state tough man champion. In 2014 and 15, he competed in Masters boxing, winning gold in Florida, Kansas City, and Australia.
Wow, I never saw this coming. Thinking about being in a Hall of Fame never was on my mind. I always thought about winning state champion, being a regional champion, and being a national champion, as well as being in the Olympics. But I never ever dreamed that I would someday be in the Hall of Fame. So I'd like to say thank you, Lord, for this opportunity to be here. While Jeff was inducted into the Hall of Fame, never thought about that it would happen to me. My little brother was inducted into the Yankton College Hall of Fame for football. Again, it never occurred to me that something like that could happen to me. I know medical doctors, when they become doctors, they're known that they sign their name as Miss Maria Bell, MD. So I have a question for Jeff. Now that I'm in the Hall of Fame, do I write Jerry James, HOF? I'm not sure of that. They say we have 7 minutes to speak up here, so I don't mind if you guys check your watch, just don't start tapping it, okay? The people I want to thank my family for their support. I want to thank the Hall of Fame committee for thinking that I'm worthy of being here. I'd like to thank my coach, Joe Taylor, who always felt that I could beat anyone, no matter what weight class I was in. And during my time in boxing, I had to fight light heavyweights and heavyweights just to get fights. I'd like to thank my attorney who won a court order so that I could fly to Seoul, Korea to compete to do a box-off against Anthony Hembret. I'd like to thank my friends and community, Sioux Falls, for both their moral support and financially supporting me during that time. There's also one special person I would like to thank that I hadn't thanked properly in the last 29 years. This person would get up 6 o'clock in the morning while I was training. We would ride our bikes to Augustana track field. We would then run 2 miles on the track, get back on our bikes, and ride to the gym. We would then spar so many rounds, we hit the bag so many rounds, and we would jump rope for so many rounds. And I never got a chance to thank this person properly, so I'd like this person to stand up, and let's give him a round of applause. That's Rob Oswald. Thank you, buddy. That guy was always there for me. Every time I watch that fight, I get nervous like I'm going to lose this time. I don't know why I feel that way. My heart starts to race. I remember one time when we went to a boxing tournament, Joe was in my corner, and I got hit smack in the face, and I went down